Oh my goodness. How good is it to see your face?
I know.
I'm gonna get emotional.
I know how it
For
takes.
you. Oh, goodness. It's been what, like 2 years?
Stop.
That's crazy. That's scary, actually.
No,
It's
no.
not right.
What age is Beth?
2.5. I know. 2.5. Mm-hmm.
Stop.
I know. You look gorgeous. I love your flowers.
Oh, I love wee flower.
I know.
Wee
I know.
hairband.
Flower
Flower
for
hairband.
you. It's a
How nice
lovely
is this view?
spot. It's beautiful. Do you come here all the time and just chill out?
Do you know, during lockdown, we used to back the car up, right? Open the boot
Oh, yeah.
and have like the picnic blanket in the boot.
Oh, lovely.
And we would sit here and like, well, we would have a wee glass of wine, the kids have wee hot chocolate.
Lovely.
And it was so nice. It felt like you were out.
I know. Oh my
But it
goodness.
is really nice. I
It's
thought you
gorgeous.
would like this.
Yeah, I do. I love the water.
I know. Do you know what? When the tide comes in, you can swim here.
Can you?
Yeah. There's a few
Ah.
people who do come down
Right.
and do the swimming
Swimming?
because I know that you love a wee
And the
dip.
wee dip, yes. I only started doing that really last year.
I know.
Just got the courage to get in because I'm not a big fan of like what's under the water, you know, like the seaweed and stuff. So it was like just putting my fear aside and doing it.
I hate being cold.
Okay. Yeah.
Like-
you like being warm?
And I am such a cold person. But I know, and I've been reading, I think I try to psych myself up. This is like anything I try to do. So I've been reading the Wim Hof book.
Oh yeah. Lovely.
I've read the book Breath by James Nestor.
It's a good book.
So good.
Isn't it?
So I know the benefits of being in cold water therapy.
Yeah.
And do you follow that guy on Instagram, Dave Asprey? You would love him.
Would I?
Yeah, he's quite extreme. He's quite, maybe not extreme is the wrong word. He's quite like blunt. Maybe it is extreme. But he then talks about like, you don't have to submerge your whole body in cold water. He talks about just doing your hands or your feet or your face.
Right.
Like we get into that vagal nerve,
Oh yes.
you know, in your
okay.
face. But like again, cold water therapy. So I
Yeah.
know all the benefits of it.
I'm surprised.
I
though,
can't
'cause you're
bring myself
very-
to do it.
Yeah, I thought you would have been like one of the people to get in the water.
I know, and I've got a dry
To
robe.
do all the running
I
and
know.
everything. Yeah, very
I don't
active.
mind putting my body through being uncomfortable. It's like birth. I don't mind feeling that discomfort. I hate the cold.
I know.
I live in
I
Northern Ireland.
know.
I hate the cold.
I know. It is hard. I don't like the cold.
But it's
either,
mindset.
It is mindset.
Isn't it?
Totally.
Because like you get in and you're only in it for what? 2 to 5 minutes?
Yeah, not long.
Yeah, so it's not long.
Like 5 minutes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's not like, and you're not gonna die.
I know you're not. You're not. And it's this peace you feel when you get in. It's the the walking in is scary and the feeling on your toes and your feet, but once you're in, it's
And the
like,
discomfort as
yeah.
you're feeling that cold
Yes.
water, you're like, your whole body tenses up, but you have to
yeah, just
welcome
relaxing. Yeah. Totally.
relax into it, embrace these feelings of discomfort,
Yeah.
which I know I teach it.
I know. I was going to say that.
I literally teach it.
That's birth. Isn't
That's
it?
birth.
Isn't it?
So I know all that in my head,
Yeah.
but I'm
know.
still like,
I thought I was giving birth there, though you were like,
flashbacks.
I know. Oh, it's just so lovely to see you.
I know.
And it's just giving me memories, actually, of
Because
just
we
the
kind
whole
of-
time.
That wee window when Beth was born was when things were kind of lifting,
Oh, yeah.
you know, from the restrictions,
Oh, yes, that's right.
and then it all kind of turned to shit again.
I know. It was a weird time. Very weird time.
So weird.
But yeah, let's get into you, Lindsay. I love what you're about. But I want to know, like, why did you decide to become a doula and maybe not so much a midwife? Why a doula?
Yeah.
This is I want to know.
Do you know, I think lots of young girls have a calling to mother women. Like we all have an instinctual mothering instinct, right? Not everyone, but most women.
Yeah.
And didn't really put off. Well, I get into it. And I think midwifery or pregnancy and birth fascinates women, a lot of women.
Yeah.
And it always fascinated me, but I hated blood. Always hated blood.
That's right.
So I'm a fainter, massive fainter. Like during my periods when I was a teenager, I used to faint. Like whenever I would like change my tampon.
Right.
I'm literally pass out.
From the blood.
From the blood.
Seeing the blood. Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it wasn't good. So I think then people would say to me, well, you could never be a midwife or you could never be a nurse. And you allow those stories, right?
Yeah.
To like, you begin to believe people's stories that people are telling you. The more you hear something, the more you start to believe it. So yeah, that was parked. Then whenever I was pregnant with my first baby, I was young, I was 23. Whenever little Lucas was like planted in my womb from the universe, definitely a universal gift.
Yeah.
And I had the fear. I just had the fear that a lot of women have around birth because of what they see on TV, on movies, culturally, the stories, what we've known from our mothers.
Totally.
That kind of collective message of birth being inherently dangerous, scary, awful, brutal, something you have to endure. So that was my programming of I want to have a baby, I want to be a mum, but that whole like bit, don't want to do that. And my mum was like, just get the epidural, go in, get the epidural, and just let it happen. Just trust the doctors. I was like, right, okay. Then I went to a yoga class in Edinburgh when I was pregnant, and my yoga instructor was a doula. And I was like, what now? What is that? And she talked about birth with such love, excitement, joy, like this like passion. I was so confused. I was so confused. I was like, what is this? And she kept saying like how envious she was of this experience we were all getting to have. It was it was revolutionary. So and then I can remember asking her like, why do you feel like that? Like, I'm petrified. She like pointed me to, she signposted me. So this is like this is nearly 10 years ago. So Instagram was around, but it wasn't the way it is today. So she pointed me towards a book, a CD that I ordered off Amazon, like a hypnobirthing CD. And I got into a couple of these things. I definitely listened to there was a podcast at the time, and like bing, all of a sudden I was like, what, learning about the physiology of birth, the pleasure of birth, the joy of birth, the initiation that birth is into motherhood. Oh my word, it was just amazing. So I did as much as I could during that pregnancy, and I had a really beautiful very empowering birth experience. And I remember with Lucas. And I remember people saying to me, I was excited to give birth. I was looking forward to it. And my mum was like, that like, okay. Everyone was like, well, that's nice that you feel excited. That's nice. That's sweet. Nearly like we'll see how you feel after type thing. And I remember having Lucas on my chest, and I looked at Jamie, he's my husband now, he was my boyfriend at the time, and I just remember saying, I feel like a fucking goddess. And the midwife laughed. I was like, what did I just do?
Wow.
And I was like, I have to help other women feel like this. That was amazing.
Really?
I felt so strong, my body, so proud of myself. Couldn't believe I did it.
Was it in the hospital?
It was in the hospital at that point. So I arrived at 10 centimeters. Anyway, it was fast. It was a fast first labour. But yeah, so then I trained to be a pregnancy yoga teacher. I just loved that, holding space for women during that time, helping them move their bodies, connect with their babies, which was lovely. But what I was finding was there was a very distinct gap. So women were leaving my yoga class, sometimes crawling out in their hands and knees in labour. I had a woman like literally in labour crawling out. But what they were doing is they were leaving my yoga class maybe like 38, 39 weeks. then I would see them again at baby massage. And there was always a gap that I wasn't with them. They were leaving my classes feeling empowered, excited, ready. And then I was seeing them in baby massage and there was trauma. There was trauma. There was confusion. There was, I don't know how that happened. I don't know how it unfolded that way.
Yeah.
There was, well, there was coercion. There was, and I was like, what's in that gap? How can I fill that gap? But I did not want to be a midwife because I was here. I have friends who are midwives. Still have lots of friends who are midwives, and I have nothing but respect for them. But I'm a bit of a rebel at heart.
I know you
know,
are.
a bit of a wild soul. And I don't feel that working within the midwifery system, the NHS, I wouldn't survive. I wouldn't survive it. I would not get anywhere. I wouldn't be serving women correctly. I couldn't work within that system. I would be too restricted.
It's very political, isn't it?
It's political. You're just so gagged by policies, guidelines, restrictions, and I don't do well in those circumstances. So, and you don't get the continuity of care nowadays. But unfortunately, you know, it's not like Call the Midwife days.
No,
do you follow?
it's not.
Do you watch that movie?
No,
What's that?
Call the Midwife.
Call the Midwife. The
it's
series.
Like a sort of olden day.
Yeah,
series.
it's like back in like the 60s.
No, I haven't watched it, but
It's
people
so
keep
good.
telling
You
me to
would
watch
love
it. I know.
So that's like midwifery when I was at its peak, you know. You're
Yeah.
going out to people's homes, you're getting to know families, you were maybe delivering women's first, second, third, fourth babies all in the home. You know, that they were the days. But it's not like that anymore, unfortunately. Whereas with a doula, I get to walk with women through their journeys, get to know them, love them, fall in love with them, their families. And so then I can support them in a really intimate way during their labours.
Yeah.
Being their biggest cheerleaders, wiping your brow, kissing your hand,
Yeah.
you know, seeing you naked,
I know.
and it's fine, you know,
I know.
nursing you back to, you know, helping you into that, through that transition, to that portal, you know, and holding that space for you during that time with trust and love and strength and support, and you and women just knowing that there is someone there who believes and trusts in them at that time. So yeah, that's why I became a doula, because there was a gap. Didn't want to be a midwife, but then doula means with woman, woman servant. That's what it means in Greek. Woman to serve women.
Oh, I love that.
That's what it means in Greek. This is a Greek word. So yeah, that was how that came about.
Right. Amazing. And it's so just you. Like, I can't see you doing anything else. You know, just your personality and everything. That's just you. You picked the right thing.
I hope I feel very lucky that I've found something that my job is something that just feels so natural to me, and that I love it. It never feels like a job. It always feels like an honour. It's a pleasure and honour to do the work I do. And yeah, I get so it gets me in my gut and in my heart when I work with families and women. And yeah, it never feels like a job.
No.
Do you know?
That would be amazing to have that kind of job where you get to see women give birth and be there to support them. Like, that is an amazing job to have.
I think the birth world though is like quite secretive. No one really knows what's going on in it, which is why I love documenting it and like taking photos and videos. And I'm so grateful when women share their videos and photos, because a lot of pregnant women don't sometimes the fear comes from the unknown. They don't know what it looks like. What does giving birth in a hospital look like? What does giving birth at home look like? So the more we can share in Northern Ireland, because like if you go on into YouTube, there's loads of like American vlogs, but you know it doesn't look the same. You know, the care is different. they're all hooked up to CTGs and have IVs in their hands. It's not like that in here.
No.
So yeah, it's different.
Yeah.
And I think that whenever I did move back to Northern Ireland, so I lived in Edinburgh, and whenever I moved back to Northern Ireland 5.5 years ago, I did think, I don't think I'll have a job. I didn't think there'd be a market for doulas here. And even when we worked together 2.5 years ago,
I know, yeah, it was
still, I was still finding my feet here.
Yes, yeah.
Definitely still finding my feet. So, but I feel like, I don't know whether or not it was through COVID or whether or not it's through the Instagram or awareness.
I was going to say that because, you know, it's a lot more, like, when I think of you, you're like the sort of leader right now in the doula world here, you know, like you're the person that's leading the way when it comes to like birthing.
Well,
you know?
That's a compliment.
It is.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Do you know, I think that there's loads of really amazing doulas in Northern Ireland. I think that I would probably be one of the most active on socials.
Yeah.
There are women in Belfast who have like premises that do like yoga and like and have their doula businesses run from there. There's women who've been doing this way longer than me here in Northern Ireland. But I think we've all found our niche. Our own style, our own niche of women, and who we are attracted, and which women are attracted to working with us.
Yeah.
There is a doula for everyone. And I have recently, within the past couple of months, met women who've gone for coffees with them, and we've been chatting away, and I've thought, I'm not her doula.
Yeah.
You know? And I then said, so lovely to meet you for a coffee. Here is a number of a doula called.
Really?
Yep. And I've said, I really feel that you should contact her. Go for a coffee. I feel your energies will be really much more aligned. And then this lady messaged me a couple of days later, being like, I met with, and she was amazing. Thank you so much for your recommendation. Okay. It was so much better. Wow. She wasn't for me, and I wasn't for her.
Right.
It's so, like, you have to find your and I always say to people, like, it's important to look around. And same with me. And you know, I learned, because last year I took on clients and had a feeling they didn't trust it. I thought, no. And it wasn't bad by any means, but our relationship was very different than what I'm used to. It was very professional. Yeah.
And then you probably wouldn't have felt comfortable either, you know.
And I'm not very professional.
You are. In your own way.
Yeah, my own way. But I am like, you know, oh sorry babes, I'm running late, you know. I'm like, you know, I swear. Yeah. You know, and I'm you know, I like a friend, I like a rhythm, a flow, of fluidity with her, and like an intimacy. Yeah. Friendship. I like to build friendships as well. Yeah. And this was two professionals, and they hired me as a professional, and I did my job, but it didn't feel right for me. Yes. And it was wonderful, and they had a beautiful birth, but there was definitely a line then after the birth. It was like, thank you for your service. Yeah. Goodbye. And whereas I'm like to be able to like message in, how are you getting on, babe? Like send me pictures of your babies, like, you know, that.
I love that. That's my kind of doula.
Yeah, exactly. You know? Definitely. So I think there is a doula for everyone.
Definitely.
And you don't, and it's not personal. It is personal, but it's not personal.
I know what you mean. Yeah, because it's a big thing. Birth is a big thing, and the person you have in the room is so important. And I know you talk about this on your Instagram about the importance of having a safe space, and like the lighting, and you know, the room, and the way it's set up, and it's just so important.
You chose an alternative birth team.
I did. Yeah.
You didn't have the traditional hubby.
No.
As well. So why did
I know.
What was that? What was that? What was your reasoning for that?
You know, me and my friend were talking about this last week actually. Obviously 2020 was a time when all that was going on, the pandemic, and it was, you know, it was a lot going on.
A lot.
So obviously there was only a certain amount of people that were allowed in the hospital, and obviously that's why I chose a home birth as well, because I wanted to be able to have more people around me almost, you know. But even at that, we weren't. It was only allowed me, you and Anne.
Remember whenever your mummy was trying to like come in?
I'll never forget that.
They were trying to shoo her out
I'll
in
never
her own
forget
home.
that. I know.
And your sister as well.
Yeah.
Your other sister. We were all trying to like get in the party.
I know. I have a video of that actually.
Oh, it's brilliant.
But yes, yeah, the reason why we chose that was because, for a few reasons. Obviously the first birth with Nathan, my birth with Nathan, was quite traumatic on Johnny.
Yes.
You know, the whole experience, I really feel that shook him.
That is not talked about enough. And
It's
you're
not.
right. Yeah. Men
Yeah.
are in that experience too.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
And it was very, very traumatic for him. And that was one of the reasons.
Yeah.
But also because Nathan is just, me and Johnny are so protective, especially when he was just born.
Yeah.
In the first maybe year or two of his life, we were really, really protective, you know, because I think we're just new parents, and he's so he's just very, you know, on the go, and we are so protective, where we were like, if we, you know, let someone look after him, you know, if my labour's like 2 days and he has to stay with someone for 2 days, we had this maybe worry that he wouldn't be looked after properly, which is crazy, but I mean, that's how we felt.
Yeah, sure.
So we came to like an agreement that he would be with Nathan while I would birth, and you know, that's so like almost controversial, you know, that we done that, because I mean, it's the daddy of your child.
But he came straight after, you know?
He came straight after, but this is the funny part, you know, at the time it really worked for us.
Yeah.
You know, like having women, you know,
It was lovely.
It was just so empowering for me.
It was so powerful.
And I feel if I had have had his presence and he was nervous, it maybe would have put me in a nervous position. So that's one of the reasons why.
We were all having the crack.
We had a laugh. I loved it. But in like hindsight now, he does look back and he does have that regret that he wasn't there. You know, in hindsight.
Yeah, in
At the
hindsight.
time it was different, but because there was a lot going on with COVID and everything. So, but now looking back, it's like, you know, I should have been the one there to hold her first. You know, it should have been me. So, and I feel that as well, you know, he should have been there to hold her, and that's something that
interesting.
I know.
I didn't think you would feel like that.
I know.
Very
It's hindsight.
It is
you know,
hindsight.
and thinking,
And
in
it was
the future
a
too.
crazy time.
It
People
was.
weren't. We were all surviving on what felt good at the time. We were making these big decisions in life. So yeah.
Yeah, we done what we felt was best at the time.
At the time.
I believe it was the best decision at the time. Yeah,
totally.
because it worked for us all, for Nathan as well.
Totally.
And like you said, he was down.
Yeah.
Like
Straight
after.
down. Straight down. In fact, I remember him I was down on the floor with you.
Yes.
In the
I'll never
living room.
forget that.
And I was
will never
looking in
forget
your
that.
eyes and holding your hand because there was stuff going on. Were you getting a wee stitch?
Yeah, I was.
Getting a wee
I was
stitch?
getting stitched up.
You were, and Anne had Beth. And Johnny came in. I was like, baby's in with Anne. Give us 2 wee seconds, because I didn't want him to get scared
Yes. Yeah.
coming in that situation.
Yeah.
But it was like, we were like intense. We were like, no one is coming into this space. I've got you, babe.
I'll remember that. You know, that moment of you just looking at me. It's so powerful, because I was at that point
A wee bit, yeah.
nervous.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
I think remember the placenta didn't come out in time, and they were going to
They
bring
were
me to
maybe
hospital.
going to call the ambulance, yeah.
And then obviously the stitches with obviously no real relief, you know, feeling all the tugging. It was just very, but you had my like attention, the way you held me and the way you looked at me, like you were just so reassuring, and you just made me feel so safe, and I just kept staring at you in the eyes going, right, Lindsay, keep that going. It was so powerful.
So powerful. And I think that's why having a team around you who knows what's going on, who can hold, and like your midwives were beautiful, amazing, but they were doing their job.
Yeah.
You know, they're doing their job, and that's why having another person who knows what's going on and who doesn't have any fear around it, who can really hold that space with real intention.
Yeah.
You know, is so powerful.
Yeah, that was the best decision to have you there as a doula, honestly. It really was. It really was, because the way you made me feel so safe, especially during that time. And I just knew if, you know, something went wrong, you wouldn't know what to do, because obviously I would be in like a very vulnerable position. I wouldn't be able to think for myself. So to have you there as my voice, and that was so comforting to me. You know, so you were brilliant, and if I was to have any more kids, I mean, you'd be there.
With Johnny.
With Johnny. I know. But and I want to talk about your birth too, because you had a home birth.
I did. I had a home birth with Luna. It was very.
And how was that?
It was very fast.
Yes, that's right. It was very fast, wasn't it?
Very fast and very intense. Like, even if I hadn't have planned a home birth, she would have been born at home. There was, I had no time to comprehend actually what was happening, and if I was having to go to the hospital, I wouldn't have made it. She would have been born on the motorway. She would have been born in the car. Wow. Yeah, and the special thing is that was actually on my son's birthday. So they share a birthday, which is very lush. I love it. So yeah, we were having a little Moana picnic, and felt a little twinge. By the time I walked from the bottom of the stairs to the top of the stairs, I was on my hands and knees. I called down to my mum, "Can you call the midwife, please?" Mum was like, "What?" I was like, "I feel this is going to go fast. Can you give her a call?" I remember going into my room and putting on like a little nightie that I had for the pool. And my dad and my husband were down at the pub. It's only down the road, and I called them and I was like, you need to come up here. They're like, we'll just finish our pints. And I remember saying, I honestly don't feel that there's time. And like my dad laughed, and I was like, I know that sounds ridiculous, but I need you to come here now. So by the time my mum, my dad and my husband had arrived, I said to my husband, like, you need to take me to the toilet. Because I remember like literally emptying my bowels so much with Lucas, and I was like, I need to empty these bowels before I get into the pool. But actually what I was feeling was her head. It wasn't my bowels that needed to move. So we went straight from the toilet, like me kind of straddling over the toilet backwards, straight just over to the bath. And the midwives then arrived at that point. And I remember just holding Siobhan, the midwife, so close. And I was like, I'm scared. I remember saying to her, I'm scared. What is going on? I was like, this is so intense. And she looked, she was so gentle. She said, do you mind if I have a little peek? And I was like, crack on. Literally crack on. And she said, I can see your baby's head. And then that's when I went, oh, that's why it's intense. And just her being there, that reassurance, I just let go. And Luna was born like 10 minutes later. So it was a 45-minute from the first contraction to her being in my arms. It was very fast and very intense. Everyone nearly missed it. But yeah, so I remember feeling a bit like annoyed after, like how fast it was.
I was going to say that, like you didn't really have time to process it.
I didn't have time to process it. It really just happened. I was imagining this like ebb and flow, getting into the pool, being in that warmth. Like none of that happened. It was amazing and very intense. Like obviously I think knowing I was being at home, that helped with the being relaxed, and my body was obviously opening and preparing and softening for days. But I think when you're planning a home birth, you just have that's what's happening, and you don't even know it. Yeah. Because you're just so relaxed, you're not going anywhere. Yeah. You don't have to be on like that. Your thinking brain doesn't really have to be on. You know, to be like switched on, to be like, wet childcare, hospital, you know, that sort of thing. So it's amazing.
Incredible.
Amazing.
And what would your definition be of like an empowering birth? You know, there's a lot of you know, like a home birth is empowering. Like people, obviously, there's different ways of birthing your baby that are, you know, important for different people and what feels good for them and safe for them. Sure. But you know, what would you describe as an empowering birth? What would that look like, you know, for a woman?
I think what you just said there, what feels good for each woman.
Yeah.
There's different experiences that will feel good for each woman. I think an empowering, positive birth experience is when a woman has felt heard.
Yeah.
She knows her options and choices. And she has been in control of the path and the journey that it is on that unfolds.
Yeah.
So whether or not that be a home birth that is in her own home, she feels comfortable, safe, grounded, in the water, surrounded by people that she loves, whether it be that, whether that be an elective cesarean, that she has decided because of previous birth experience, because of whatever it may be in her life, that actually choosing to birth her baby through elective cesarean is the most empowering thing for her. Perfect. Whether or not that be a hospital birth, a birth centre birth, whether or not that starts off as a home birth and then the transfer happens and it unfolds into an unplanned cesarean birth. If throughout that process mum has felt in the centre of the decisions, she's felt in the know, she's understood why her choices, or why she's having to make certain choices, and then she's consented to making these choices, that from having a dream home birth in the water under the stars to having an unplanned cesarean in theatre, that can still be a positive experience. May not be her first like dream birth, but she can still hold her baby at the end and think, you know, my baby's here, I'm well. And as much as that didn't unfold the way I envisioned it, it was still, it unfolded the way it was supposed to, and I feel that I was in control of all those choices.
No, that's
exactly it. I think that's what a positive experience is. You know, I think trauma comes into it when things are when it's blurry, when there's coercion, when women don't know why things are happening to them, when they feel that it's not really been their choice to go down this path, when they feel a bit blindsided. I think that's when trauma.
And that's so easy to happen. You don't realise it, don't you?
You don't realise it.
And it happens so quickly. And I think that's why it's so important to have someone that's there that can be your voice, because things just, in birth, it's just so...
And you know what? It's not even... I used to get so angry at, like, the stories I would hear from women when they said, my midwife said this, or my consultant said this. And I used to get so angry at the individuals, like at the midwives, at the consultants. And now I'm not, because I realise that's just the culture that they're in. Midwifery is the most highly litigated profession. And you can sue your midwife. You can go back and sue for like, I think 25 years after the birth of your baby.
Really?
It's actually insane. So they are just always covering their backs. And they're always within guidelines. This is what guidelines say. And a lot of these guidelines aren't even evidence-based. They're outdated. The evidence is outdated. But they can't say that. They record everything down. And you'll see that, like, I have clients at the minute who something was picked up on their scan, for example. They've been referred to like another scan, went to this other scan. They're like, I actually don't even think I would have picked that up, but I can't sign this off, so I'll refer you to fetal medicine. And they go to fetal medicine, they're like, everything is fine, like there's nothing to be worried about. Well, we'll just refer you to another consultant, because no one wants to sign it off. No one wants to be the one that says, okay.
Exactly. And you can see why too, you know, that's their life as well, but it's
their livelihood.
It affects the mum.
But then then it is like when you hear I've also had clients who are going for these routine like growth scans, and before a Doppler or before an ultrasound even goes on their belly, the consultant's going, right, well, we have to keep an open mind, and we have to think about birthing by cesarean, and you're like,
Yeah.
oh my word, they're just or what we'll do is right, you're 38 weeks, great. What we'll do is we'll get you back in at 40 weeks, we'll do your sweep, and then we'll book you in for an induction at 40 plus 6. So, that's your induction booked in. That's the language, not like, so you're now 38 weeks. What we would advise, or what guidelines say, is that at 39 weeks, you can be offered a sweep. Do you know what a sweep is? Would you like to know the benefits of a sweep? The cons of a sweep? Okay, so these are the benefits and risks of that. And then guidelines also said 40 weeks we'll reassess, and we'll talk about what then between 40 and 42 weeks look like. We'll talk about what your options are. There's different types of methods of induction. Guidelines say at 40 plus 6 we should offer induction, but you have the right to decline that. These conversations don't happen.
No. And why do you think that doesn't happen? Do you think it's because they don't have the time?
They don't have the time.
It's really sad.
It's so sad.
Because our births really impact us like our whole life.
Yes. There's a lovely quote, if we can start to heal birth, we'll begin to heal the earth. It all starts, and that initiation into motherhood, you go from maiden to mother, and with each birth you grow and transform again and again and again. We learn and grow. And with each year of our children's lives, each chapter, you're kind of out of the baby phase now. You're into these, like, you've 2 kids.
That's what it feels like now.
And then Nathan will go to school, and I now have 2 children in school, and I'm facing different parenting challenges now. Lucas is coming home, and he's talking about things he's hearing in school. He's talking about, he's 9, so he's talking about what is the number 69 mean, Mum? And I'm like, right, that's where we're at. Okay. And we have a very open relationship in our house.
That's good.
But I'm going, right, how I start to talk to him about sex, about his body, about women's bodies, about consent. This is where I'm at now.
Right. Wow. Yes.
I'm like, wow.
Well, yeah.
I'm now crafting. I'm out of the stage of just trying to keep them alive.
I know. Yeah.
I'm crafting little humans.
Yes.
I'm crafting values and morals. Wow, there's a big responsibility.
Yeah, it is big. Big.
So we go through, you're constantly, me and my husband were like, right, did we parent that right? We're constantly communicating. How was your parenting today? Mine was so. He's going, I had a great parenting day, I had them out all day, they were in the garden, they were planting. I'm like, great, you're winning. I'm like that. I'm like, oh. But then I have really good parenting days. I had these days where I feel so connected to my kids. We've had beautiful snuggles at night. My little boy, he's 9, but he still loves a cuddle. And he's like, Mama, he tells me he loves me, and I'm like, oh, okay, I had a good parenting day today.
Yeah, I know. And then there's other days when you don't,
and you've shouted and you've lost your temper, and you're like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And we're kind of navigating an ADHD route and a dyslexia route, so I'm constantly, we're constantly reading, adjusting parenting, and then you have to parent yourself. You have to parent your parents. I know that we've had to. That's hard. They're hard conversations too. My dad, who's amazing, but he'll say things to Lucas. I'm like, you can't say that to him. His brain works differently. He's like, oh,
right.
Old school, right?
Old school, yeah.
And I'm like, let me, and I think that even when it comes back to home birth, I've had conversations recently with my clients about how do you convince my friends and family that home birth is a safe option. They don't understand. They think I'm dangerous. And I'm like, so this is what you do? Nothing.
Great.
There is nothing that you can say or do that are going to convince these people. Unless they are willing and open to having a conversation. So the first question you have to ask people is, are you open to learning? Are you open to hearing my story? Or have you already got your mind made up that I'm dangerous and it's unsafe? And ask that question. And people say, well, this is just my opinion, this is what I believe. Like, you end the conversation there.
Yeah.
Do not try to convince. Do not try and get them to change their mind.
Right.
Do not try and get them to see your point of view. They won't.
Yeah.
If they say, yeah, I'm open to that, be like, awesome, let me send you a podcast. Let me send you an article.
Right.
This is how, this is where I'm learning from.
Yeah.
It's like anything, isn't it?
I know.
You
Well,
know,
Johnny was like that too. Remember you came up to my house?
yes.
And he was very
Unsure.
Yeah. I think he had a lot of fear.
But he was
around it.
open because he was open to it. Yeah. He was open to learning and growing with the idea.
Yeah. And then we came to a decision that if I birthed at my mum's, then he would be like, so, you know, fine with it because
you were
it was
closer.
so close to the hospital. But because we live in the country, it was a lot more like, oh, I don't really, and I couldn't do it in my own house if he felt like that.
Yeah.
So I had to meet in the middle.
Totally.
And
that comes with independent as well. You have to just, you know, other people's opinions mean absolute shit. They don't matter.
Yeah. Yeah, because they're your kids, and your kids have certain needs, and maybe what they say won't work with your kid. Do you know what I mean? So, and that actually ties me on to, you talk a lot about trusting your gut and your motherly instincts and the importance of that, you know, and, you know, what would you say about that then? Like how, you know, a woman that's maybe not really in touch with her intuition, like how would you, you know, explain to her, or I don't know, maybe encourage that?
I think that starts with mothering yourself and honouring you as a woman and as a mother and your needs. I am a big advocate of, I call bullshit on this like martyrdom of motherhood. Yeah. Always like putting your kids first, putting your family first, putting your husband first. Yeah. You're always at the bottom of the pile. Bullshit on that. Yeah. You matter. Yeah. You are the heartbeat. You are a better mother when your cup is full. I know that's a bit of a cliche, but it's so true. So what brings you joy? What energizes you? A walk in nature, a run, a massage, making time to cook healthy meals for yourself, time with friends, time alone. What, you know, and then that time for you helps you move into your body. Movement, you know, movement is huge. Moving through dance, through walking, through running, through lifting weights, through swimming, anything that is movement, being in the body, and listening, asking yourself, you know, and asking yourself, how do I feel? And then just sitting with that. Where do you feel it? Do you feel it in your throat? Do you feel like a lump in your throat? Did you feel it here, like under your diaphragm, like where you like can't catch your breath? Like I saw it, like, oh, that's how I feel about that. Does it feel like butterflies in your tummy? Do you feel it like down in your vagina? You know, like kind of like, ooh, like, is that how it feels? Excitement? Where does it feel? How do you feel in your body? Do you feel yourself tense in your hands when you think about something? So how do I feel about that? Where do I feel it in my body? Utilising your breath and tapping in to, and I don't think this is a whole other topic, but tapping into that like sensuality of you as a woman, that sexuality, sensuality, but very, very combined, different but combined, you know. You can and I feel that like allowing yourself pleasure through and joy is very important to tapping in to that instinct, that mothering, feminine woman instinct. That's all kind of combined, I feel.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, because it's so important.
Sometimes you just need to go up and, you know, have some time alone and make sure that you have a wee orgasm. Absolutely. And I don't think women's masturbation is talked about enough. Honestly, number one tool for getting rid of headaches. Right. Oh my word.
Oh, really?
Got a headache? You need some time alone.
No way.
You and your clitoris.
No way.
Yeah. Oh my word. Oh, feeling like, you know, a bit of brain fog. absolutely.
Yeah.
You need to go up
I
and...
know, we don't talk about these things, don't we? Because there's
Yeah.
a lot of shame and judgment around it.
Oh
and
my God,
it's just always
so
been
much.
like
Again,
that.
this is layered. This is complex. This is a whole other topic. But yeah, claiming back that ownership of your body feels good. Do you, like, genuinely, I ask women, like, do you know what feels good? Do you know how to get yourself off? I can get myself off in 90 seconds.
Yeah, because you know your body.
I know my body. I know what feels really good. Like, you know, I've got the women who are like, oh my God, no.
Yeah.
Like, why not?
Yeah.
Do you know how magical your vulva is?
Yeah.
There's so much pleasure in that portal.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, and like you said, is there shame? Is there embarrassment? Is there like a detachment because that's where you birth your babies from? Like, what is that?
I know.
You know, and yeah, so that's huge.
That is huge. That's such a big topic to talk. I'm so interested in that. You
Oh,
know,
me too. That is what I want to veer into in the next couple of years.
Definitely.
I want to veer into. I'll always be my doula, but I would like to veer into. I hate the word coaching because it's so saturated.
Yes.
But into maybe there's a few people actually in Northern Ireland who do like kind of tantric, holistic, sexual like healing workshops and stuff like that. And again, I feel that that's quite extreme, and I think for a lot of mainstream that women wouldn't connect with that. I would like to bring it a little bit more mainstream in that let's like talk about reclaiming our bodies and our sexualities and our pleasure and enjoying sex. And if you don't enjoy sex, why not? Is it a physical thing? Is it an emotional thing? Is it attachment? What is intimacy?
Yeah.
You know, what is that?
Yeah.
So much of that.
I think I seen something, I think it was on TikTok actually, of a girl that was saying that she didn't realise that she was doing this for so long, but she would, because she wasn't in touch with her body, she would during sex, she would be thinking about her partner or husband's being turned on by her. So she was constantly thinking of him, how he was getting turned on. Not that she was getting turned on by him or the whole, you know, the pleasure, but she was like getting off him thinking of her.
Yeah.
You know, and so she was constantly thinking, right, am I lying the right way? Am I doing the right thing? Like, you know, that was the only way she could really get into it because she wasn't tapped into her body. And there's so many layers. There's like that shame aspect and
totally letting go,
and
vulnerability,
self-esteem, and all these things, you know, worrying about what you look like and not being able to surrender to it. And I think a lot, I think it's when you get older, like when you're young, you think it's what men want, you know? You think of like the pornography and all that, and you think it's an act and like a performance, yes, when you're younger, and it's just like, can I like but as you get older, well, for me anyway, like I'm 32 and I'm having a different sort of view of sex now. It's more of like I really want to make sure that it's sacred and it feels really, you know, when you're younger maybe you would fake orgasms sometimes. I mean, I think, you know, it's real.
And you do all the signs and you make all the right, like, you know, suggestions that you know you're enjoying it.
Yes, I know what it's all about. Again, it's probably the pornography industry and it's
culture,
brainwashing us, you know, like totally always thinking about the man, not ourselves, and that's what women we've done. And I really believe that it's so important to get back in your body and
also talking to your partner about like, and I've had these conversations with Jamie and I'm like, oh, it doesn't feel good, and he's like, oh,
I love it.
I'm like, don't take it personally.
Yes.
Would you rather me fake it? And he's like, no, very sorry, and then we'll try something different. And I'm like, and I'm moving or I'm trying, I'm doing it. He's like, is this not good? I'm like, I'm in it, babes. Like, let's just work with that. And then he's taking it personally. He's thinking I'm not enjoying it because it's because of him. I'm like, right, see that ego? Park it.
Yes, park it up.
Park that ego. We're in this together. He's all like, oh man, you know, his manhood's being like crushed because I'm like, this doesn't feel good. Like, stop, it's not about you, it's about me and my pleasure. So let's come on, Work on me
Yeah.
here.
Mm-hmm.
Things feel different for women at different times of the month, depending on what
Yeah.
their hormones are, depending on like where their juices are flowing.
Totally.
Pleasure feels different.
Yeah. Totally.
So it's not going to work the same every time.
yeah.
Don't take it personally.
100%. And yeah, you're 100% right.
Oh
And I
gosh.
think
Yeah, you literally have to call them out.
Yes. Yeah.
Your erection is pretty much the same all the time. It's a wee bit more complex and magical down here.
We are very complex. Very complex. But yeah, I love that you're moving into that, because I think we really need it. We really do.
Totally.
I think we're too much in our brains in general, and then when it comes to like sex and making love and all that, like we're always in our head. We're not
Always
getting
in
into
our
the
head,
body.
into the body.
And that's where
Yeah.
the pleasure comes from, you know?
Totally.
'Cause we're too busy thinking up here, like, am I looking the right way? Do I look sexy?
Yeah.
Should I throw my hair like this?
Yeah. Are my boobs really saggy?
Hide them.
You're like that.
Whereas, that's how I used to be back then.
Yeah,
Maybe
yeah.
sometimes now it would creep in, but now I'm like, no, it's not about that anymore. It's not. It's about
Yeah, totally.
being in your body and being confident
Yeah.
and making love for the act that it is. It's making love. It's not a performance.
No. And you deserve pleasure. Yeah. You deserve to feel good. In fact, I have a friend who like literally has multiple orgasms every time she has sex with her partner. And I'm like,
Wow.
oh my god, how do you do that?
Wow.
This is so funny, but we're in the midst of creating a podcast. But I always say to her, I like would orgasm like 99.999% of the time I have sex, right? Which is amazing. It's the way it should be.
Yeah.
But I have to hold off because I'm like, oh, I get so sensitive like afterwards. Like I find it really hard to keep going.
Yeah.
And she was like, you're like a pufferfish fanny. I was like, what? He gets all like swollen like a pufferfish fanny. Oh my god! So every time we have sex and like then I orgasm and like Jimmy hasn't finished yet, and I'm like thinking I have a pufferfish fanny. So
Giving me an
I
image
know.
in my head.
I know. But when she said it, I was like, that's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
It's so
Right.
funny.
Right. I love it. Oh,
Yeah.
that's hilarious. No, it is such a interesting topic.
It's so
isn't
interesting.
It?
And
It's
again,
very
one,
interesting.
you know, it's kind of like it goes in hand with like birth and
Yes.
sex.
Yeah.
Like they're so interlinked.
They really are.
They're so interlinked, and there's such a veil in front of them.
Yeah.
No one wants to peek behind.
Yes.
Enter Lindsay. Opening it up. Oh, dramatically, like opening the curtain. Let's peek behind this.
I know, because in birth, like once you have get pregnant, that's it. Like your modesty goes out the window, and you know, because you're basically everyone sees down there. You know,
Yeah.
so it's this.
But
real...
but you don't have to lose your dignity.
Of course.
You know?
Yeah, that's right.
You know, if you
Definitely
it does. But I think people say leave your dignity at the door. No,
I'm bringing it
no,
with me.
I am still a woman that should be respected
Yeah.
in her most vulnerable time. You know, this whole like just let me just pop up in the bed and we're just going to give you a wee check. No. Are you asking me to go into the bed? You're offering to check me. I will consent to that, and I will do that in my own time. You know, I think that again, like that, just change it. There's such subtle changes in language that can be used in maternity services that, without even knowing it, women can feel more empowered in their journey. Yeah.
Totally. Because it's not like you have a broken leg and you're going in to get surgery.
You're
for
not a
broken
patient.
leg.
You're
Yeah,
not sick.
it's completely different. Yeah, we need to feel like we get to say what goes on with our body. Obviously, to an extent. Obviously, if you're getting rushed in, of course you're so grateful for all these
my God,
medical professionals.
totally.
It's not even about that. People think
It's
when you
not
talk
about
like
that.
this, you're
Dissing
dissing, but you're not.
Not at all.
It's all about just doing what works for you and knowing your body and making those choices, you know, because
Well, I'm so
ultimately it's your
grateful
life after that.
for the system, for the NHS system,
So
like,
grateful.
and you know, no, and you're right.
Yeah.
There is people definitely get their backs up and feel like you're dissing it, and
No,
you're not at all.
Definitely not, because they do such a great job
Oh,
and they're great, you know.
yeah. When the time's needed, when it is
Yes.
a medical
Exactly.
emergency.
Yeah, totally.
But birth is inherently safe and shouldn't be treated like a medical event from the offset.
No, definitely
Exactly.
not. Definitely not.
Yeah.
It's I love talking about birth. It's just
I know we've been like that for like an hour.
I know. I've been doing them like 1 hour and a half, and then I'm trying to cut it back to an hour. But I think between 1 hour and 1 hour and 30 minutes.
I think an hour is good.
An hour's good. Yeah, it is good.
Because people can listen. I think an hour is what people listen to.
Totally, totally.
I think that's good.
Yeah. And what is your legacy then? What do you want to leave behind?
Question.
Yeah. Like, what's Lindsay's legacy?
I would genuinely be so happy if, do you remember people like me? I always think of like your eulogy, like your funeral. What are people going to say about you? You know? And if people said Lindsay was someone who loved fiercely and who always had a passion for helping other women. I'm very very best.
No,
I'm not a feminist though.
me either.
Do you know what I mean? I love traditional gender roles. I believe in women being in the home. Like, I'm not a feminist.
No,
but I love women.
Yeah.
And if they've come to say she was just so passionate about always helping women feel their most powerful, most feminine, and in whatever decisions they made, you know, whether or not they want to have hairy arms and legs and live in the forest, or whether or not they want to get a boob job and Botox, and I'm a mixture of both.
Yeah.
Like, I want to live in the forest, but I love getting Botox.
Yeah. Right.
I'm like right in the middle.
Yeah.
You know, I love wearing heels and dresses, but I also love being barefoot on the beach. I'm both.
Yeah.
And you don't have to be, you don't have to fit in a box. You know, and if we just had this freedom to explore all these different areas of ourselves, you know? And if someone said, Lindsay just loved, just loved women fiercely and just encouraged women to be who they wanted to be and just were as authentic as fuck and didn't apologise to anyone.
Yeah.
And had more orgasms. Encouraged women to have more orgasms.
Yeah. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
I love that message.
That's what.
And that will be your message. I can see it. Beautiful.
Yeah. Thanks, babes.
I know. And sorry, one more thing before we go. You were talking about traditional roles and, you know, being a feminist and things. Like, I think that's such a big topic in our world right now. Very controversial too.
Very controversial.
There's so much around it. Like, you're afraid to say the wrong thing now because you might get cancelled. I mean, there's just too many. For me anyway, I just feel like we're losing what it means to be a woman.
Yeah. And do you know what? I got approached by BBC Ulster during the week to come on and do a segment talking about doulas in Northern Ireland. Amazing. I was like, amazing, would love to do that. They asked me a couple of questions, ethos, etc. And I said to them, I don't know what your stance is on this. I was like, but I won't be talking about pregnant people. I'll be talking about pregnant women. And she was like, can you use both? And I was like, I'll think about it.
Yeah.
I think about saying pregnant women and people. But I have to think about it.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm going to.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's all I'll say on the topic.
Yes.
But yes.
It is. It's very controversial.
We're losing. Well, we're not.
Yeah.
But women are. If we're not careful,
yes,
the word woman will be eliminated somehow. And that's not good.
It is not good. No. And I'm so passionate about it. Every time I see anything online, and it doesn't mean that I'm against any.
No, and exactly.
You know,
and you have to be. Do you have to be
insane.
careful?
That's what I mean, and I don't want to feel like I have to be, feel this way, because I mean that's insane to me. Yeah. You know, I believe that everybody should live their life, but the way they want to, and I'm not against any of that. But I don't want someone imposing their beliefs on me of what I should call
say.
myself
Yeah,
or
yeah, yeah.
call who, you know.
Yeah.
It is just, I just don't want, it's scary for our daughters and the next generation, you know, like, I think we have to be brave in what we're, you know, who we are, and not be afraid to be.
And I think there is, you don't be afraid, and be open and welcoming, and everyone can use whatever language feels good to them.
Exactly.
Crack on. But
Exactly,
don't try and get me to change how I'm speaking.
Yeah.
But there's no hate there. There's no hate.
No.
Only love.
Totally.
But I'm still going to use language that feels good for me.
Yeah, and if I use that I'm a woman, and it's not going to diss you, or, you know, and this is... And
someone did pop on and say, oh, like someone said to me on Instagram about me being unsafe to pregnant people. And I said, I completely see where you're coming from. If that's how you feel around that word, I'm not your doula.
Yeah.
But I can signpost you to someone who would support you in that capacity, on that level.
Yeah.
But you're right, I'm not for you. And that's okay too.
Yeah, totally.
But like, have a beautiful pregnancy.
Yeah.
And I wish you all the best.
That's it. It's all about love, and I think we're all living in a world now where it's just cancel culture. You're not allowed to say what you feel, you know, and that's the beauty of the world. We're not meant to all agree on the same thing, you know, and I feel like that's where we're going, you know.
Have you read Pierce Morgan's book, Wake
I was
Up?
going to say that, his name. No, I haven't read his book, but I was going to talk about Pierce Morgan.
Yeah, because like I hate him, right?
Yeah.
But his book is brilliant. Now, it was written in 2020, so it talks a lot about COVID. But it is, the message of it is actually very good.
Yeah.
And he says that we should be able to have a heated debate.
Yeah, that's what makes life.
Right? And then be like, do you want to go get a beer?
Yes, that's the way it should be.
Yeah, because like fundamentally we're like we're friends, or you know, or if you can have a heated debate and also be like, we're never going to be friends, but see you later, like and part with, again, maybe not love, but part with respect, and you know,
that's it. Totally.
But you should be able to have these debates and difference of opinions, and then ultimately be like, okay, so
let's have a drink. Exactly.
Yeah.
We can't lose the art of having a conversation and having different opinions.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
we are, but we're getting there. People are so fucking offended.
I know.
All
this
the time.
Is the thing. Like, even doing these things, like, you are, you know, and I shouldn't be thinking, what if I say the wrong thing? Because someone might take this really wrong and label me as something that I'm not, you know?
Yeah.
And that's the danger of, like, the world now. People are going to label you a certain way.
Do you edit these?
Well, I didn't with the first 3, I think. But then there was a few things one of the mums wanted me to cut out because they felt a wee bit concerned. And I'm happy to do that. Like, it's your video, so I do edit bits out.
That's so funny, because like whenever I'm doing podcasts, I'm like, oh, it doesn't sound right. So I feel very like, I don't think I could do something just like, you know, live or something like that. But that's like that, like that throat chakra, you know, that blue throat chakra of like closing in, feeling silenced.
Yeah, and I don't like that feeling.
I know, it's not nice.
I don't.
It's not good at all.
No.
Did you say something about your throat chakra?
My throat chakra? Yeah.
Years ago.
Yes, yeah.
Did we talk about that whenever you were pregnant? You had like a blue, did you have like a blue vision or blue smoke, or about your throat, did you go for like energy healing?
Yeah.
And talked about your throat chakra?
Yeah, I did. Most of my 20s, I even still now, I kind of still feel it sometimes, but not the way I did in my 20s.
Yeah.
I just always felt like this blockage around my throat. I would even say to Johnny, like, I feel like there's something in my throat, like a frog. Like, there's something there all the time. It's like I'm talking really quiet. I can't talk. Like, I'm always like choking almost on my voice. It was just the weirdest thing.
So
and
crazy.
Then I went and obviously was really interested in energy work then, and I'd done some Reiki. And she had her hands over my throat, and I felt like someone was like strangling me. It was so intense, the feeling, And afterwards, after that session, she even said herself, she felt a lot of like energy blockages around my throat. And yes, after that, I felt it get more stronger. My voice was getting stronger over time. But it's a real thing. Like, you really do feel energy in your body where it's blocked. And I did feel it in my throat. And now it's like my voice is, I think after having children, something happens. And ignites, and you just know how important your voice is, and you can't be afraid to use it.
Totally.
And it just, and it comes to a point where if it offends people, that's on them, it's not me. Like, that's my truth.
That 100%, and that over and over and over again.
That is not on.
That's not on you, babe.
It's not. Yeah, and creating boundaries.
Because you know who you are.
Yeah.
You know that you come from a place of love.
Exactly.
You know that you're accepting and welcoming and open. So if they're getting offended by what you say, that's not on you.
It's not. I know who I am. You know who you are.
Yeah. And people who are going to get offended and who aren't open to having a conversation, they're not for you.
No, definitely not. No.
Absolutely. But that takes a lot of growth to stand in that confidence.
Yeah.
And not say anything more.
It takes a lot of confidence.
Yeah, it takes a lot of inner work. For sure, we're constantly at it.
We are. We really are.
Well, we are.
Yeah,
I know that some people aren't really into that, and that's fine. But I'm constantly like, how can I be better today?
Totally.
How can I understand more? How can I love more, give more? How can I be better?
Yeah, I'm the same.
Yeah. And even just asking that question. Not that we're not amazing already.
I know. Yeah, I know.
But yeah, I think it's important to constantly. Well, Emily Vavra says, oh no, her name is Emily Ford now. Sorry, she says, if you don't look back on yourself a year ago and cringe, you're not.
Oh wow.
You're not living right.
No.
Sometimes I look back on Instagram memories and I'm like,
me too.
That's a good thing.
I know.
If there's another really good quote, something like, "You're always changing." It's like the biggest compliment that someone can say to you.
Yeah.
He doesn't stand still. Boring.
I know. This past year, I feel like a big, massive, like I've just ripped a layer of skin off and like a new person. That's how I feel.
What's that in the Matrix?
Is it?
Where they like, unmask themselves.
And then next year it'll be another one.
Totally.
You're never the same person ever.
Evolving constantly.
Yeah. And then
juicy.
People, it's true that when you do change, you start to change your, parts of relationships, and people
will fall away
or grow with you. It's.
And if you are one who is into personal development and growing and changing and evolving, and and you have people around you who aren't, and people won't like it.
No.
But you have to be okay with letting that go.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's hard. It's sad sometimes.
It's sad.
It is sad sometimes.
You're grieving, like.
And I've had friendships that have ended. Not like dramatically ended, but have fallen away.
Yeah.
That's sad.
It is sad. It really is sad. I suppose that's life, isn't it?
Yeah.
You have
definitely
to stay true to yourself and your journey.
And you can also take the piss out of yourself. I take the piss out of myself all the time. Like, I know I'm a wee bit extreme.
Yeah.
And classic LINZI. I'm like, that's fine.
That's me.
Yeah. That's fine.
Yeah.
And you don't want to take yourself too seriously.
No, definitely not. No. And that's why I love dancing around the kitchen. And I used to post it, but obviously not so much. I don't know why I don't know. I just don't.
You have such a rhythm. I try. Like, I was doing Just Dance with Looney yesterday, and I'm like,
I seen that.
And I am not great at it. Like, put me on a dance floor with Spice Girls, and I can absolutely bop it out.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know how you move your body like that. It's amazing.
Oh, thank you.
And it's so sexy.
Oh.
It's so sexy. Ooh. So sensual.
Really? Ah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Johnny must love that. He must love that.
Wow.
I will send you a girl, and you will love her on Instagram. Her name is Eleanor Hardley. I will send you her.
Right.
And she is all about sexual embodiment through dance.
Yeah.
She does these like embodied lap dances, that's what they're called.
Right.
And she does them for girls, guys.
Yeah.
And oh my word, even watching her videos, I am,
Right.
she takes me next level, like.
Really?
Oh,
Well, I have
so
to-
good.
I have to watch
I can
that.
imagine you doing something like that.
Wow.
Like hosting workshops like that.
Everybody says that.
Like embodied dance workshops. Oh my word.
Well, I did
Be
teach
so
belly
good.
dancing for women, and it was like more of an empowerment class, you know,
Yeah.
like teaching, you know, not teaching, but getting women to, you know, feel sexy and feel sensual.
Do it.
I don't know. It feels weird. I don't know if I'm there in my life
Yet.
now.
Yeah,
Maybe
yeah.
in, I don't know. We don't know.
Don't
maybe
know.
next year, maybe in 10 years, you know, but
You have to feel
I
it.
feel like I've done that. Now I'm in, like in a different stage, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But I'm so for women feeling good about themselves. I really am.
Totally.
It's like you said, like that passion for women and mums. Like I don't know what it is. It's just.
Well, you're doing a great job. What you started here.
I know it's I'm very nervous still to, you know, doing it, but I just have this real feeling about it and I can't shake it. I'm like, this is so needed.
Yeah.
You know, we need to talk to normal mummies and women about our
Definitely.
stories, because people think, oh, I have 10 followers on Instagram, like who wants to talk to me about my story? But no,
We do.
your story is so, you know, you don't realize the impact you're having on people.
Stories are like the foundation of life.
Yeah. Storytelling.
Yeah.
So inspiring.
It's an art.
It
Yeah,
is
it
an
is. Yeah,
Mhm.
it's beautiful.
It is. So doing this.
Thank you for bringing this.
Yeah, no, yeah. Thank you.
It's a beautiful offering.
And I would love to have all the women come together, maybe like for afternoon tea or go for food.
I love it.
You know, get
It's lovely.
all the women that done
Building
the
a
videos.
community.
Build a community.
That's lovely.
Because honestly, you really need it.
We need a village.
We need a village. We do need a village. And I feel like I'm making so many lovely connections and friendships through this.
Love it.
And that's just like one of the amazing things about this. So it's just, I can
So
wake up in the
good.
morning and I'm like, oh, I get to go see LINZI today and do this, you know.
so good.
It's so lovely.
It's like me, James Corden, you know, in the car.
Yeah, I know. I was thinking she
Just
start
think.
putting music on, like doing a bit of a dance too.
Yeah.
Love it.
I
But
love it.
okay, we could talk for ages.
For
couldn't we?
ours.
There's so
Literally for
much
ours.
more. Like, there needs to be another part 2 because there's so many things. I wrote down like things that I'm going to ask you.
Oh my
like,
word.
even breastfeeding. Like there was things about breastfeeding and
Oh, here, you should go to a lactation
Pain.
consultant. I'll put you in touch with a lactation consultant. We could go and visit, you know, and talk to about breastfeeding. I wouldn't probably be the best to talk about breastfeeding.
oh no, just for other mums. Oh, I'm still breastfeeding.
Are you
Beth.
still breastfeeding back?
Yeah,
Oh my word,
2
you're
years.
amazing.
2 years. 2.5 years.
Oh my word, that's
I
unreal.
know. I didn't think I would ever make it this far.
That is amazing.
I will say something. It was that moment after giving birth and placing Beth on, and that support I had of like getting her on properly. Like
And did a really good job that too.
yes, yeah, amazing. And you as well. Like you both really helped me so much.
You really, really, really wanted that.
I really did. And I, you know, you really. I remember my mummy going, "Just get the bottle," and you were like, Patricia, and in the most kindest way, you were like, she really wants to breastfeed, so we're going to really help her,
Really
you
try
know.
here.
And that was so brave in a way, you know,
It
to
was.
say
I can
that.
remember me saying, "Sure, have you got a wee bottle just in
Yeah.
case and things
Yeah.
like that."
That's just like the old-fashioned.
And
way, isn't
again,
it?
nothing wrong with bottle feeding at
No,
all.
no.
But I knew you really, really
Yeah.
wanted to give it a good shot.
Yeah, because I really wanted to do it with Nathan,
Yeah.
and it never happened, and it was because I didn't have the support.
Yeah,
Because
it's huge.
the nurse that's in the hospital that day had made a comment because he wouldn't latch, and I think it was a lot to do with he had the epidural. He was just crying. He just was very unsettled after I had him, and he wouldn't latch on. And she made a comment about my breasts that made me feel like, whoa, they're not made to do this. So
No way.
yes, I will never forget it. I don't want to say that. I
Oh,
think I said it
that's
in my
so
last
sad.
podcast or the last video, but she did make a comment about my boobs that he couldn't get on because
Of
of
your
shape
anatomy.
or- yeah, and that was it. I was like, whoa, that's it. Like I can't do this. My confidence. I think that's really knocked me big time. But then like 2 weeks after, or I was like trying to pump,
Yeah.
and I was giving him some, you know, bottled milk from pumping.
Yeah.
And then 2 weeks later, I got this overwhelming, like, no, I shouldn't have let that woman, like, make me feel like that. So I reached out to a lactician, and I said, is it too late? Because my milk was drying
Yeah.
up. She was like, no, it's not too late. But then it didn't really work out. I don't really know what happened, but it didn't work out.
Yeah.
And it's crazy because, like you said, it doesn't matter what way you feed your baby. But,
yeah.
you know, there's women who do really want to breastfeed. And I think it's all about support. And I think if more people had support, more people would breastfeed because not many people do.
So, in Northern Ireland, it's the lowest breastfeeding country in Europe.
Yeah. And it's
great.
because there's no support.
Yeah, there's not.
And you really need it. You really need it.
Yeah, again, that's a whole cultural thing, but yes.
It is, yeah.
You really do need it. That's amazing, babe. Well done. Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's a real achievement.
I know, it is. It does.
It's a real achievement.
Because it was very sore for the first month.
It's a real
I don't
achievement.
think it was getting the hang of it, and it was like, stinging.
Wee Beth must love it. Love a boob.
I know. Well, it's mainly just a bedtime, and maybe when she's not well, you know, like we colds, it helps. But no, it's amazing.
Yeah,
but
really well done.
I'm hoping by this summer we can.
I think a breastfeeding podcast would be great.
Yeah.
Doing one with someone.
Yes, definitely. So it is a big thing.
Huge.
Big topic. But yeah. Well, thank you very much, Lindsay.
You're so welcome.
Thank you. It was lovely. It was so lovely. And I'm sure we'll probably talk a wee bit before you go. But yeah. Thank you very much. Bye.